What's going on, Guardians? It's Sizzle here. First off, this is a bit of a long intro, so if you just want to see the gameplay for a certain class, skip to the timestamps below for each character's run. Now with that out of the way, I have 3 builds in one video for you. I will be showcasing some builds that you can use on each character to solo the Master, Perdition, Lost Sector on Europa. I will break down each build very quickly and then give a more detailed commentary on how to best use the build to work for you. Each character uses different weapons, and that is by design. I realize not everyone has a god roll of every weapon, so I wanted to showcase a variety of weapons so that you can use what you have in your arsenal to try and replicate it. So first off, the Perdition Lost Sector has Vex enemies. You will run into tons of arc shielded harpies, so an arc primary is highly recommended. There are also a couple of void shielded minotaurs that you'll have to deal with, and there are no solar shields. The champions are barrier hobgoblins and overload minotaurs, so you will need an overload weapon and an anti-barrier weapon. The destination modifier is arc and aerial damage taken. Luckily, most of the enemies shoot void, but if you do get caught airborne, you're probably going to die, so try to remember that. The master modifier is famine, which means you will get less ammo drops, so use your special and heavy wisely. And lastly, the burn is arc damage, so your arc weapons will deal more damage. We can use this to our advantage. The final thing to note is the recommended power is 1330 for a Master Lost Sector, and I wouldn't suggest trying to farm any Lost Sector much below 1320 light. It is definitely doable, but it just isn't very efficient. You will likely die, and it will take 10 to 15 minutes minimum because you have to play safe, whereas if you wait until you are higher light, you will be much quicker and have an easier time. And now with all that out of the way, let's jump into the first build. The first build I'm showing today is the Hunter because it is most creative in my opinion. This character is also the lowest light of the 3 at 13 levels below recommended power. I wanted to use a rocket launcher because they got a buff this season. For this build, we are running top tree tether on the Night Stalker Hunter. We have vortex grenades for breaking the Minotaur's shield and the marksman dodge to reload our rocket to take down champions. I utilize charge with light mods such as taking charge and shield break charge to make us charge with light. And I am using Argent Ordnance, which if you did not know, it gives a 20% damage buff to our rockets when we are charged with light. Additionally, I'm using the artifact mods anti-barrier sniper rifle to deal with the barrier hobgoblin shields, and overload bow to stun the overload minotaurs. The exotic of choice is 6 coyote to give us a second dodge charge so that we can go invisible if we get into trouble. I'm also running concussive dampener and void damage resist on the chest piece to help with survivability. On the legs I have 2 rocket launcher scavengers because as mentioned before, famine is on, so we will be getting less ammo drops. I also have rocket launcher ammo finder on the helmet to help combat this. On the cloak I have powerful friends and an arc mod just to give us plus 20 mobility so that we have tier 10 mobility, which gives us a very short dodge cooldown. The dodge not only reloads our weapons but also makes us invisible, which can be key to staying alive, especially when under leveled. I am running a long shadow with major spec because champions are majors, so it will help me pop shields easier. And I am running an arsenic bite with explosive head and major spec, which helps us to easily stun the minotaurs with overload arrows. And finally, the shining sphere rocket launcher. It is an arc rocket launcher and we have arc burn, so it hits very hard. Sub-Zero salvo or heretic are 2 other arc rocket launcher options that could be used. And I have yet to see one, but I believe Sleepless came back from the Dreaming City and that used to be arc. So there's a decent amount of options to choose from. Any rocket launcher would work though, it's just arc is ideal because of the burn. Mine has auto-loading holster on it, which I strongly recommend. It's such a great perk and it saves me a couple times in this run. As well, I have tracking module on it, which is really nice just so that you don't miss. A couple of recommendations for this Lost Sector, and really any Lost Sector, is slow and steady wins the race. These videos are not speedrun videos. These are to try and help any player get through the Lost Sector on their own to farm exotics. I recommend always dealing with the trash ads first, as they can and will kill you. Once you have all the red bars down, then you can focus on the champions. And that is it for me on this build. I will let the rest of the run play out, and I will see you after for the Titan build. Enjoy. Next up we have the Titan. For this build we are on Top Tree Void, Code of the Protector, aka Bubble Titan. We have Void Wall Grenades for the Minotaurs and Towering Barricades to keep us protected. The build is centered around the exotic Titan's ramparts, which allow us to shoot through our barricades. We are running 100 resilience for 14-second cooldowns on our barricades as well. And to get even more barricades, I'm running Perpetuation on the class item, which reduces our class ability cooldown when we use our class ability. So basically, anytime we engage with powerful enemies, we'll do so from behind the protection of a barricade. We have the Charge with Light mod Protective Light to help us with survivability, as well as a couple Warmind Cell mods in Wrath of Rasputin and Global Reach. This will help us clear adds much more easily. This is a double primary loadout, so we have Anti-Barrier Scout Rifle and Overload SMG. For the Scout Rifle, I'm using a Night Watch, again with Major Spec to help break shields easier, and an Ikelos SMG which can spawn Warmind Cells. Lastly, we are using Xenophage, which is just a great all-around weapon, and with Wrath of Rasputin, it too can spawn Warmind Cells. Similar to the last build, I'm running Machine Gun Ammo Finder and Scavenger, as well as Machine Gun Reserves. Because we're a bit higher light and have barricades to protect us, I decided to forego the resistance mods. So that is pretty much it for the Titan build. Because we had on double primaries, this run took a bit longer, but it still is a decent option to use. I will let the run play out, and I will see you for the Warlock build. Finally, we have the Warlock. Again, we are on Top Tree Void, the Attunement of Chaos. We are pairing the strong charged vortex grenades you get with this build with Controverse Hold. Admittedly, this Lost Sector isn't ideal for spamming all these grenades due to the arc shields, but it is a strong build nonetheless. We have a similar build to the other two, utilizing ammo finders and scavengers to keep our ammo reserves up. We have Concussive Dampener and Protective Light for survivability, but what sets this build apart is the weapons. I have a Godroll Succession Sniper Rifle with Reconstruction Vorpal and Appended Mag. This allows me to hold 8 shots in the mag of a high impact sniper rifle. And you can see the difference in strength between it and the Long Shadow. For the bow, we have Point of the Stag, which was a ritual weapon. It too has Vorpal Weapon to deal more damage to majors and bosses. Very strong. And lastly, we have Anarchy. I'm sure you know about this gun, but it is one of the strongest weapons in the game. It allows you to do damage over time from a safe spot. Great for champions and bosses. You can also set traps, so when laid down properly, it's also great for ad clear. I saved this build for last so that you can see the difference between a usable loadout and an optimal loadout. You can do these Lost Sectors very quickly with a loadout like this, but I also understand that not everyone will have a raid exotic, a raid legendary, and a ritual weapon from a past season. That being said, Anarchy is available from the exotic kiosk in the tower, and if you are going to go for one PvE weapon from there, I think you should make it Anarchy. The gun has so much utility and is top tier for high-end PvE content. This is the loadout I obviously recommend if you happen to have these weapons, not just for this Lost Sector. This loadout will be strong for almost any Lost Sector that has barrier and overload champions this season. So that is it for the builds. I really hope these builds and the strategies I use in the gameplay help you to clear this Lost Sector. It goes without saying, but these same loadouts can obviously be used in Legend Lost Sectors. The recommended power for those is only 1300, I believe. The drop rate is supposedly less for Legend Lost Sectors, but I have farmed hundreds of these at both difficulties and have not noticed much of a difference in drop rates. If you made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I plan on making build videos on every class for all of the Master Lost Sectors in the game. So if you want to see those, feel free to subscribe to the channel. And if this video helped you out at all, a like would be very much appreciated. But that's it for me. Good luck farming this Lost Sector in the future, and take care.